Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos. And I do believe from my own perception that Manchester United should start Brandon Williams today against Norwich after his impressive performance midweek against Partizan Belgrade. Obviously, Brandon Williams was the architect for obviously the penalty, because obviously he had got brought down, and obviously Martial had tucked the penalty away. But Brandon Williams, I do believe that he could become a success at the football club. Don't forget, he recently signed a new contract, and so far he has made two appearances for Manchester United. And obviously now you have got the vast majority of Manchester United fans demanding him to play today. And I think a lot of Man United fans also do believe now he's a better solution than Luke Shaw, because obviously Luke Shaw is out with a hamstring injury at the moment. He's actually been out with this injury since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace. But like I mentioned anyway, we have got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does believe he has gained two new Premier League players in Brandon Williams and James Garner. I credit James Garner's performance against Partizan Belgrade, because I thought he did really well, and it was good to see him make his full debut for the football club. And that was James Garner's first appearance for Manchester United against Partizan Belgrade since the 3-1 away win against Crystal Palace last season. But Solskjaer's actually come out recently and admitted he's ready to use the youngsters in the Premier League, which is obviously now very good. Like I did say, I've got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players. So maybe we do need to orchestrate on maybe loaning some of the young upcoming players out in January. Like I said, I've got element of concerns about Chong, because of Chong's only played a couple of times this season, and I think Chong's totally comparison to the likes of Greenwood, Alex Tuanzebe and Brandon Williams. But I do believe, some of the young upcoming players will become a success. I can assure that Mason Greenwood will become a success at Manchester United. I know Greenwood, hasn't played, recently. He hasn't yet, started a game from the start in the Premier League. He's made 6 substitute appearances so far this season. But I think by the time he's 23, 24, he can become a huge success at the football club. Alex Tuanzebe, I think in the games he's played in this season, he's also been very impressive. Tuanzebe, as you all know, he's out with a hip injury at the moment, and he was initially named in the starting 11 against Liverpool in our last league game, but obviously he sustained a hip injury during the warm-up, so obviously Marcus Rojo had taken his place in the team. But I think Tuanzebe is a doubt for today, but I think it's unknown when he's going to be back. He got Diego Dalot. He's obviously another young upcoming player that's out with injury, and he's actually sustained quite a few injuries this season as Dalot. I think it's also unknown when he will recover from injury. I think he's played around 2 or 3 games so far this season. I think Diego Dalot has got a groin problem. But I've also been very impressed with McTominay this season. I think he's delivered the goods for Manchester United. I don't think he's a world-class midfielder. Like I said, in regards to McTominay being a long-term solution for Man United, I've got element of concerns about that. I don't know if he can keep the consistency up McTominay. But he has deserved to keep his place in the team, because this season he has been a first team regular. And obviously I've got the same perception on Fred of what I've got of McTominay. I don't know if Fred is the long-term solution for Man United. I do agree on the aspects that Man United did overpay for him. We paid just under £50 million for him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk, and obviously he hasn't performed to this standards as we should expect from him. He's had the odd good game for Man United, like I mentioned. He hasn't performed, as he did do, when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, because he was actually an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk. Andres Pereira, I credit his performance against Liverpool, because I thought he did really well against Liverpool. Obviously, he's played on the right quite a few times this season. But yeah, so he deserves more time in that at the football club. But I do believe today anyway that Solskjaer probably will go with 3 at the back. He'll go with a 3-5-2 formation like he has done in the last 2 games. And this formation, does seem to be working, really, really well. And, Solskjaer's had his overarching view on this new formation. He said it's working very, very well because it also enables Manchester United, to have two attackers up top. But yeah, and I think this new formation, could now turn around our season. Because obviously for the majority of this season, we have been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. I think on a couple of occasions as well, Solskjaer, has gone with the 4-3-3. But we know that the 4-2-3-1 formation, hasn't been working. And, like I mentioned, for the majority of this season, a lot of Man United fans, including me, obviously, have been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics because for the majority of this season, we have been tactically inept. But credit Solskjaer for the last two games. He got it tactically right, and it's good that Manchester United did show some tactical flexibility. But Solskjaer's revealed anyway he may stick with three at the back against Norwich. But it's obviously going to be it's obviously a game that Manchester United do need to win today. Obviously, if we want to keep our hopes up for that top four. Obviously, now as it stands at the moment, we are sitting 15th in the league. Obviously, regarding yesterday's results, we are sitting just 2 points above relegation. So you can quite frankly say at the moment, we are facing a relegation battle, and we're sitting around 10 points behind top four because obviously Chelsea beat Burnley 4-2. Yes, you can probably say you could disregard the top four now. You could obviously say now we are too far behind. But even if we beat Norwich, probably we may not even finish in that top four. But it was important, to win against Partizan Belgrade because actually, that ended our 11 away games without a win for Manchester United. And I did say, that we do need to improve our away form. Also, our home form needs to improve. We have still got injuries, so we can also take that into account. There's quite a few players now that have regained full fitness. Anthony Martial's back now, which is very, very good. So he will add more inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. He predominantly plays out wide on the left, Martial, but obviously it got confirmed at the start of the season. He's obviously being given that number 9 shirt, so he will be playing more centrally. But now this new formation, it will be a partnership of Martial and Rashford up top, which I do believe they'll complement each other fantastically well. But Martial, like I mentioned, he's delivered 51 goals for Manchester United, since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. And Martial now is into his 5th season in the football club. So it's good, to see him back in action. But, like I mentioned, Norwich, like I said, this is, from a Norwich perspective, this is also a game, they do need to win. Obviously, they're struggling. They are sitting 19th in the table. They're sitting they're sitting in the relegation zone. Obviously, I interpreted some of the stuff that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mentioned, during his press conference, and he says, Norwich like to play their own way. They can show good attacking intent, they can score goals. Defensively, they are really, really poor because they do leak a lot of their goals. Do Norwich have got some good, players. But we're actually just sitting 3 points above them. But Norwich do show a lot of courage. As Solskjaer also mentioned, they did beat Manchester City earlier on in the season by 3-2. I think that's the last win they had. Norwich. So I think they win this in the last 4 or 5 games. The last time we played Norwich, obviously, like I mentioned, was back in 2016. This was in Louis van Gaal's second season at Manchester United, and we did beat Norwich by 1-0. It was Juan Mata who only scored. He's the one that scored the only goal. And I actually do believe, this game today probably will replicate, the game from 2016. I think it will, to be quite honest with you, because, we're struggling to score goals. We've only, managed 10 goals so far this season in 9 Premier League games, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. So, in the games we have scored in this season, we've only scored 1 goal, except in the game against Chelsea on the opening day of the season, because we did beat Chelsea by 4-0. And we've only actually registered 10 points from possible 27, and we also know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. nowhere near good enough, to our standards. But, I think we've lost on 2 occasions at Carrow Road. The last time we lost at Carrow Road was around 7 years ago, back in 2012. Obviously, that was under the Alex Ferguson era. Well, we lost twice to them under the Alex Ferguson era at Old Trafford. Not Old Trafford, at Carrow Road, sorry. And I think the other time Norwich did beat us at Carrow Road was back in 2005. But yeah, it's going to be actually a very, very difficult game. But it's obviously a game Manchester United do need to win. Because like I mentioned, we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 3 decades. Because the last time we had a better start to a season as this was back in 1989. Yeah, so... So as I did say, we could miss up to 6 players for this game. Like I did mention and that on my preview. Solskjaer did assure on Wednesday. This was prior to the Partizan Belgrade game. He did assure that Paul Pogba will be missing the game on Sunday. Obviously, Paul Pogba has got a foot injury that's been he's got an ongoing foot injury that's been surrounding the player for a matter of weeks. He's missed 7 of the last 9 games in all competitions, but I don't think he will be far away now anywhere from regaining full fitness. Got some news regarding David De Gea. Like I said, he missed a trip to Belgrade against Partizan Belgrade. He missed a trip. But Solskjaer did assure that he will be playing today, which is very, very good news. David De Gea, don't forget, the other week had to withdraw from international duty, due to an injury he had sustained. I think it was a leg injury. And obviously it was doubts for the Liverpool game, so I was actually surprised, that he played in the game against Liverpool, De Gea. Because if he had missed that game, it would have been the first Premier League game he missed for nearly 7 years. But it got confirmed anyway, the injury was not as severe as we first feared. We know Eric Bailly's still out, Fosu Mensah's still out with injury. Like I said, Luke Shaw's still out. Matic obviously won't be playing in this game, as that's been confirmed. Matic is out over a minor problem. Lingard should be involved because he's just recently recovered from a hamstring problem, and he's another player that does need to step up to the plate, because his performances haven't been, as we all expected this season. And reflects on his status at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. So obviously reflecting on the injuries that Man United have had anywhere, we've had to make alterations in the squad. But credit Solskjaer, because I'm actually surprised that I didn't revert back to the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3 against Partizan Belgrade. He stuck with the same formation. I do believe he will do the same today. Which is obviously very, very good news. So I'll credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now for that. But we will see what happens. Yeah, so obviously, there's still, obviously, the vast majority of Manchester United fans, demanding Solskjaer out of the football club. So I don't think a lot of Man United fans' perceptions have changed regarding Solskjaer, even though we've had, 2 good results, in our last 2 games. I'm still probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. I still believe Solskjaer isn't the right man, to elevate Manchester United forward. I do believe probably the club are willing to soften the border, and that are willing to soften their stance on him. They're willing to probably give him the time, that he's demanding. And people are saying, look, we should give him at least a couple more transfer windows, to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. Because analysing the majority of this Manchester United squad anywhere, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, because Solskjaer's inheriting, the vast majority of the players, what Jose Mourinho brought in, because the majority of the squad's Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players in, spent just under £400 million. There's obviously still players even the Van Gaal era Solskjaer's inheriting. There's still a couple of players even from the Ferguson era. There's still Juan Mata era from the David Moyes era. So he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad. But we do know a massive rebuild is needed. And I recently said I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. I think we are orchestrating next year on making at least 4 new signings. But obviously, we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad, because we didn't address all the address all the deficiencies, in the squad during the summer. We did address some of the problematic areas. We'll take that into the equation. We got Harry Maguire in. We got that experienced centre half in, and Maguire's done really, really well so far. I agree we did overpay for Harry Maguire, but we know anyway in recent years for overpaying for players. But where we did overpay for Harry Maguire, he's obviously the most expensive defender in the world. But he's done really, really well as Maguire. We got the right back in for Wan-Bissaka. It's good to see him now back in action, because don't forget he was out with illness not too long ago. He had been out with tonsillitis, but a lot of people believe that Wan-Bissaka has been our most consistent signing so far, and I probably will agree on that aspect. We obviously got Daniel James, and he's also enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. So all them three players that were recommended in the summer have all settled in, really, really quick and that. But I think the likes of Lindelof and Fred and that are totally comparison to them, because obviously Lindelof, when he first came in, he didn't settle in straight away. He was poor in his first season, but I think since then Lindelof's actually settled in really, really well, and I think he's blended in alongside Harry Maguire in our backline fantastically well, to be fair to him. But Lindelof is flourishing at Manchester United. He's had a couple of bad games this season, but I think prior to that he's done mainly well. Like I said with Fred, he needs more time to try and settle in more. But I credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the aspect, that he did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer. So that's something else, I do credit him for. But, we need to definitely get a striker in, because, like I said, we're not scoring enough goals, we're not creating enough chances. That's also another element of concern. We only managed to register 1 shot on target against Partizan Belgrade, and that was the actual goal. It was totally comparison to the Alkmaar game. I thought it was a much better performance than the Alkmaar game, because obviously in the Alkmaar game we didn't register a single shot on target, and obviously that game ended 0-0. But we need someone that can come in, that can assure us goals, someone, that can, be more effective in the box. And, we need to see experience in that attacking line, and, we haven't really got that at the moment. Solskjaer thinks orchestrating on bringing 2 attackers in January. We definitely need a midfield. We are lacking in that area. We need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera, and could arguably say that was one of the mistakes that the football club did make, was getting rid of Ander Herrera, because you could arguably say he was one of our best players since the Ferguson era. He served around 5 years at Man United, but I say, analysing it, he had 3.5, 4 good years out of the 5, when he was here. But we shouldn't have got rid of him. But it even infuriated me more that Man United let his contract run down, and we'll let him basically go on a free transfer. But yeah, we are missing creative impetus in that midfield, like I do keep mentioning. We need to add depth in that midfield. We need someone in that midfield that can, is good. We need someone who can, has got good passing ability. We need someone that can score goals from the midfield, someone that can create chances in that. So that's one of the priority areas where Man United do need to strengthen up. Don't forget, for the majority of the summer, we was in search for a right winner. But definitely further more investment is needed in the squad. And the good thing is, though, Solskjaer is making plans for January. Ed Woodward is making plans for January, and he's actually a lot of players on our agenda, who we could go in for. But like I recently mentioned, I think in the next 3 to 4 windows, our recruitment's definitely got to improve, because our recruitment's been very, very poor for several years. And obviously the vast majority of the blame stems from the board due to that, because I think our board have been a liability for several years. There's some Man United fans that are demanding our current board out, because, they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, during the course of the summer. And I think the board do need to assure structural changes at Manchester United, and whether they can assure these structural changes or not, I do not know. So a lot of Man United fans are pointing their fingers to the board, and obviously some of the blame also stems from Ed Woodward, because he's also been a liability for several years. And you've also got a lot of Man United fans demanding him out of the football club. But I think due to our inconsistency anywhere, mainly this season, everyone does need to take the blame. But I think Solskjaer he's keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do early on in the summer. But I believe anyway we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. That's what we'll do, and I think we'll probably sign one or two players in January. Well, we'll look to do that. But Solskjaer got 3 players in during the summer, but obviously he's looking to build on that because we need more signings. I think there's also more players that also need to leave the football club as well, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Mulligan and Solskjaer's arrival. But to be fair, during the summer, we did get rid of a lot of the deadwood that obviously that we wanted to do. But I still believe now there's players here that are no longer good enough to represent the football club. But like I mentioned, it's looking very, very probable in January anywhere that Man United are going to sign Mario Mandzukic. So I think he's going to be our first signing in January. And he's also going to be our 4th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. He's a cheap solution. Man United will only have to pay around £10 million for Mario Mandzukic. My only element of concern I've got about us recommending him in, obviously, he's 33 years of age now, but he's basically probably got only a couple of years left in his footballing career. But don't forget, we went in for Mario Mandzukic towards the back end of the summer transfer window. I think now reportedly Man United are set to hand him an 18-month contract. I think it did say, we're set to give him an 18-month contract, but obviously Mario Mandzukic has served his 2 requirements now anywhere at Juventus, because obviously since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri in the summer and that, Mario Mandzukic hasn't, played a single minute under Maurizio Sarri's guidance. But he's a good player, his pedigree's good, he can score a lot of goals, like he's proven, in the years he's been with Juventus. I think he's now into his 5th season there with Juventus. He has produced 44 goals in 162 appearances for Juventus in all competitions. He is actually still under contract with them until 2021. But I think it'll be good to bring him in. I think he would be a good adequate replacement for Lukaku. Obviously you can't say he's a long-term replacement for Lukaku, but obviously for the, next year or two, he would be a good adequate replacement. But he can show the likes of Daniel James, Martial and Rashford how to be more effective in that attacking line. But he did confirm earlier on this week, I think it was, he said that Mario Mandzukic had slashed his wage demands in half from 300 grand a week to 150 grand a week. So his current wage is worth 300 grand a week, but he obviously wants to halve them in order, to make the move to Old Trafford. So it's looking very, very probable, he's coming in. Obviously, there's been talks about Moussa Dembele. He's another player Man United could possibly bring in. He's obviously an out-and-out number 9. He's a player that can also score goals. I think Man United obviously would have to pay a substantial amount to get Moussa Dembele. Would probably have to pay in the excess of around 60 or 70 million pounds for him. He's into his 2nd season now with Lyon. Obviously, it was his debut season last season for Lyon, and I think he scored around 20 goals. Lyon did pay around £20 million for him last summer from Celtic, because he did have a good couple of years with Celtic. Obviously, before he was at Celtic, he was at Fulham, where he initially began his senior career, so it is beneficial as well, because he's already had experience of playing in the Premier League when he was younger. And he's only 23 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. So he's possibly another player that Man United could bring in. But yeah, a lot of players on our agenda. There's been talks about Callum Wilson from Bournemouth. Like I updated you earlier on, Man United reportedly are orchestrating on spending up to around £125 million on Kai Havertz, however you pronounce his name, from Bayer Leverkusen. Kai Havertz, yes, I think it's right. And, Thomas Muller from Bayern Munich. So we have also got 2 Bundesliga stars on our agenda. Now, Kai Havertz, obviously, I think he's been at Bayer Leverkusen now a number of years. He's actually been there overall since 2010. I think he was in their youth academy for around 6 or 7 years, was it? I think he made his senior debut, was it in 2016? Obviously became the club's youngest ever, debutant in the Bundesliga. He's gone on to make around 117 appearances for Bayer Leverkusen in all competitions since he broke into the senior squad, and I think he has scored around 31 goals. He is only 20 years of age, by the way. I think he's attracting interest from quite a few other teams. Is Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is predominantly a midfielder. He's actually a two-footed midfielder, by the way, so he is good with either foot. But he's a player that can score goals, he can create chances. I think Man United have instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out on the player. So he's a player Man United could go in for in January. Reportedly, Leverkusen want around £85 million from him. That's their price tag, so we'll have to obviously pay a substantial amount for the player. Obviously with Thomas Muller, the only element of concern I've got about Man United recommending him is that his age. He is age 30 now, is Thomas Muller, but you can't take that away from him. He's had an absolutely fantastic career with Bayern Munich. He's actually so far spent the entirety of his career with Bayern Munich. Obviously he's been at Bayern Munich now nearly 2 decades overall. He joined their youth academy in 2000. Was in their youth academy, for around 7 or 8 years. It was 8 years, I think, he was in their youth academy, because he made his senior debut for Bayern Munich in 2008. And since his senior debut, he's gone on to make 495 appearances in all competitions for Bayern Munich. And he scored 186 goals and registered around 171 assists. So his stats are very, very impressive. But obviously now there's rumours of him leaving Bayern Munich, because obviously he's initially lost his place in the team. So obviously, he's no longer first choice. I think he's still under contract with Bayern Munich until 2021. But his versatility is also, very, very good, and he can play in various, roles. He can play as an attacking mid, he can play as centre forward, a second striker, he can also play on each flank. But I think he's actually, predominantly a forward, as Thomas Muller. But I think Man United have, being long admirers of him anywhere. I think we was also in for him back under the David Moyes era, and I think, we wanted to make him our first signing, after the Alex Ferguson era, to be quite honest with you. But obviously, we didn't end up, getting him. So, reportedly, we could pay £125 million on them. And he will be probably a cheap solution, will Thomas Muller, regarding his age. I think, Man United would have to probably pay from between £30 to £40 million for his services. That's recent reports have been going on about that. I'd also love James Maddison at Manchester United. I think he would definitely add depth in our midfield. And don't forget the news regarding James Maddison came out earlier on this week, and don't forget it was stemming from a very reliable journalist, called David Ornstein. He actually said that he'd allegedly been told by all parties that Manchester United, are expected to sign James Maddison within the next year. He's a very, very good player, like I mentioned. He's predominantly an attacking midfielder, is James Maddison. He can actually play on the left, because, taking to the equation, Brendan Rodgers has played him on the left quite a few times. He's only 22 years of age, but he's a player that can score goals, he can provide, his movement's good, he's good on and off the ball, he can create chances, just like he proven last season. Because last season he created 100 chances in the Premier League. That was more chances than any other player in the Premier League, by the way. And, he's now into his second season with Leicester, and he's enjoyed a good start to this season. And Leicester did pay around £20 million for him from Norwich last summer. He had a good couple of years in the Championship with Norwich. But I think he's still got 4 years left now on his current contract with Leicester. I think Leicester, are keen on, getting James Maddison a new contract. But definitely, would love him Man United. But we was in for him in the summer, don't forget. We was tentatively linked to him. I mean, in that aspect is that, he wasn't one of our main priority targets, but we did inquire about him. But don't forget, we did business with Leicester during the summer. We got the pursuit of Harry Maguire. We paid 80 million. Leicester didn't really want to lose him. But Leicester, to say, they lost Harry Maguire during the summer. They lost Raheem Morris to City, in the summer of 2018. Obviously lost the likes of Danny Drinkwater and N'Golo Kante in recent years. They're doing really, really well. They're sitting, third now in the league. Obviously, Leicester got their biggest away. Well, it was the biggest away win in the Premier League ever. And that's obviously probably Leicester's biggest win in their history, beating Southampton by 9 goals to nil. The last 9-0 I remember before that was obviously, us beating Ipswich Town 9-0 back in 1995. But Leicester have got some really, really good players, and Brendan Rodgers has got them playing, really, really good football. But yeah, I'd love James Maddison at Man United. But like I said, Leicester would demand a similar sort of figure, as they did do for Harry Maguire. But it'll be interesting to see, who Manchester United, can try and get in January. Like I said. But my perception regarding Solskjaer is that, I don't think his managerial tenure is going to become successful at Manchester United. You know what? I'm hoping, I hope to be proven wrong. But Solskjaer hasn't really been at Manchester United now that long anywhere. He's only been at the football club now overall for around 10 months, and you can say obviously he's endured a difficult 7.5 month tenure in Man United, because obviously we do know it's all gone wrong, since he's got the job permanently, and I've been analysing it in this 7 month or so period, and obviously my perception's obviously changed now regarding Solskjaer, because I did say, whilst he was the interim manager in that 3 month period, I thought at that point Solskjaer was the right man, to elevate Manchester United forward, because we know everything went really, really well, in that 3 month period. The results were good, the performances were good, and he exceeded expectations and got the best out of these group of players, and we won 14 out of 19 in total in that 3 month period. But it just seems to me, since he's got the job permanently, it's all gone wrong. And Solskjaer, of course, has got a 3-year contract. But, I just think that basically the expectations are too high for him at Manchester United. And, he's aware of the expectations, obviously, he has to exceed, because I said at the start of this season that our expectations this season, probably will be to finish in that top 4. So in that aspect, we can't get back into the Champions League. Because obviously, I think we've failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the 6 seasons, since the Alex Ferguson era. I think overall, we've failed to secure European football only once, since 1990, which is nearly 3 decades ago now. And I think that time came under the David Moyes era. But yeah, we've got to get back into the Champions League and that, because when you're not in Champions League football anyway, it's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level. But I said anyway, I think our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons, because it's going to take a long rebuilding process to get Manchester United back to competing and winning major honours. Yeah, but if we got top 4 this season, like I mentioned, I would be really, really happy. I would be really, really happy. But I said at the end of this season, last season, sorry, and I said at the start of this season that, I didn't expect Man United, to mount any kind of title challenge up this season, or, a win the league and that, because I know our squad's not good enough to do that. I think it's definitely not good enough, though, for a top 4 finish. We haven't, won the Premier League, since 2013. Obviously, that's nearly 7 years ago now, and that, last time we won it, it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. But I don't think we'll win the league for at least the next 3 to maybe even 4 years, to be quite honest with you. That's my perception on it anyway. But there again, it's dependent on, who we can get in January and, of course, next summer. It's dependent, who Manchester United, can try and obviously getting. But yeah, but my element of concern, I have got about Solskjaer anyway, is that obviously, he hasn't basically for me, he hasn't got any intuition, like I do keep mentioning, on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United, even though he knows the traditions of the club and that, and he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that, and you can say that Ferguson, transformed Solskjaer into a winner. So Solskjaer's obviously, got that proven pedigree as a player, but he just hasn't really got it as a manager, because for Solskjaer came to Man United, obviously, he was at Mould, and he did well at Mould. He won a couple of Norwegian titles and that with him, and I think he won a couple of other stuff. And obviously before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. Obviously, that's where he began his managerial career, and he had actually a really short tenure with Cardiff. I think he only managed around 29 or 30 games for Cardiff. Obviously, he's lasted longer at Man United than he did at Cardiff, but he ended up, getting Cardiff relegated. And I heard some Man United fans not too long ago fearing that if we did keep Solskjaer for the remainder of this season, that he would replicate, what he did there with Cardiff. But like I mentioned, I don't think Man United will get relegated because I think the club's too big, and there's too much money in that into the football club. So I just don't see that happening. The last time I think Man United got relegated was back in 1974, which is obviously over 40 odd years ago now. Don't forget Solskjaer managed the Man United reserve team when he was younger. I think he managed them for a couple of years from 2008 to 2010, and he obviously watched some of this team as well. At this day and age, grow and develop, and obviously one of them players was Paul Pogba. But Solskjaer, is our fourth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. He's our fourth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, despite the fact we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Obviously David Moyes left after he had 10 months at Man United. Obviously, Ferguson obviously recommended David Moyes in at the time because obviously they were both Scottish and they got on, and that was one mistake Alex Ferguson did make. But David Moyes had a really short tenure. Van Gaal came in, he lasted around a year and a half, was it, or something like that. He got sacked despite the fact he won the FA Cup. Then we recommended Jose Mourinho when he had 2.5 years at Man United. He actually had the longest tenure since the Ferguson era, and he won the Europa League and the FA Cup in his first season. So since the Ferguson era, we've only managed to win around 3 trophies in total. That's nowhere near good enough also, to our standards. So I don't think Solskjaer will be sacked yet. I still probably believe he will be here by January. If we were to lose today to Norwich, I still don't think he would be sacked. Maybe more pressure would mount up on him, but I don't think he would be sacked. But he could last at least until May. He could do, to be quite honest with you, because a lot of people believe us getting rid of Solskjaer now, wouldn't solve a lot of problems at the football club. And Solskjaer has obviously recently been discussing our difficult transition period, because obviously the club are in a difficult transition period, and Solskjaer as well. Another aspect of me that credits him, he's got a lot of honesty about him. Obviously he's aware of what's been going on this season, and obviously he wants to turn things around at the football club, but at least he's give everybody their chances and that, like he promised he would. He said he'd give all the young players the chances this season, which they have done, most of them I think, or all of them, which is very, very good. Which is really, really good in that. So we've just got to accept the fact that we're never going to be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson. Regardless of who our manager is, and definitely Solskjaer can't invoke Ferguson's legacy, to save him at Manchester United. But Ferguson, had a lot of great players. He developed a lot of young players. He bought players as well. He controlled the transfer policies, he controlled the contracts in that, so I do credit him for that. Obviously the vast majority of silverware we won came under Alex Ferguson. I think the club have won 42 trophies overall, of what I know anywhere, and obviously 38 of them trophies came under Alex Ferguson. But and like I mentioned, Ferguson didn't settle in straight away. It took him around 4 years to win out with Man United and that. But obviously we know back in the old generation that obviously managers did get the time that they would like. But as I do keep mentioning, I want this team this day and age to replicate what the team did under Ferguson. The team will obviously this team now at this day and age obviously will never do. In terms of what the team achieved on Ferguson, this team obviously now won't do that. There's actually a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era I do like to mention. Jones is still here from the Ferguson era, Young's still here, De Gea's still here, so there's still quite a few players here. But obviously, this is a different era now, with different players and different groups that we're building. This is no longer the Ferguson era. We haven't been in the Ferguson era now for almost 7 years. But yeah, so like I mentioned, you know, I'm really looking forward to the game today. So recently Solskjaer has admitted that he's ready to use the youngsters in the Premier League, and you've got a lot of Man United fans now demanding for us, you know, to play Brandon Williams today. It would be good to see him, you know, get given the start, you know, and he deserves it, you know, reflects on his impressive performance he put out against Partizan Belgrade on Thursday. So I won't be watching the game, obviously, because it isn't on telly, just to let you all you guys know. It is a 4:30 kickoff. There's 3 of the games out of the 4 today are 4:30 kickoffs. Arsenal Palace is 4:30, Liverpool Tottenham's 4:30, our games 4:30, and I think the Newcastle Wolves game's 2 o'clock. I think that's already, you know, kicked off now. But yeah, Man United do need to win this game today. So yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe. As always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching. And like I said, I'm off to watch. Well, I'll be watching the Liverpool game today. I will give you a match analysis for the Man United Norwich game either tonight. If it isn't tonight, it will be tomorrow morning as usual. So yeah. So take care. God bless. See you all again very soon, guys. Thanks for watching.